On paper, my job is 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., but boss assigns work as late as 6 p.m. How do I raise this to my manager? I'm sure you can relate to this. And there's a part that I want to flip the coin. Remember that not all bosses are bad people. They can just be bad managers. There's a difference. When you look at their Instagram or Facebook account, they're very good fathers. They're very good mothers. They're good brothers and sisters or people. So they are good-natured human beings. It's just that when they start going to work, they have a different method of approaching people. So that's when they become a bad boss. So I want to emphasize bad bosses are not necessarily bad people. Can I get the letter B if we are acknowledging that? They can happen at the same time, but not all of them are like that. It can be mutually exclusive. I want to highlight that, right? So we have a case of a person who perhaps has the best intentions, wants to achieve a lot of things in life, wants his team to succeed. It's just that he doesn't want to compromise his working style. And that is, he doesn't want to wake up early and he prefers working late because he thinks it's a quiet time, right? Personally, at this age of mine right now, I have changed because I was like this when I was younger, but I prefer 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock crunching of emails now. There are lesser phone calls and Viber messages to be distracted with. So I sleep early at 11 o'clock or 10:30, and then I wake up at 6 o'clock or 5:30 a.m. I also get to walk around my area at 8 o'clock as my break. So here are a few options. And before I give those options, I want to ask this now, because remember that that kind of boss can also be influenced by the culture in your company. If everyone in the company acts like that, then it's going to be a norm and people will think that it's okay to do it, right? So my question is, does your company keep a culture of respecting work versus personal time? Could you please type? Letter A, yes, it's very loose. We have restricted times for meetings and events. B, it's loose, depends on business need. Or letter C, there are no rules, right? I've been to companies wherein there were restricted times. I've had clients. So since the work from home arrangement has happened, Coca-Cola, I think was this Malaysia or Indonesia? I remember they were this company wherein, no, this was Schindler. Schindler Thailand had this policy wherein you cannot set a Zoom meeting past 6 p.m. They have that policy since work from home arrangement started. That's because they want to inspire people that you have to finish your job and people have their own personal time. Schindler Thailand also calls their, so lunchtime in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore sometimes happens at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. compared to the Philippines where it's at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And they call their 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. as happy hour. Technically, there's no difference between a happy hour and lunch. It's also just lunchtime. But you know what happened? When they called it as happy hour, people were less invading of that lunch space. Because when it's called the happy hour, you can't be that killjoy, right? Setting up meetings during that peace and quiet time when everyone's working from home and perhaps our parents managing their kids or household chores, right? So here's what I'd like to share some spill. Spill number one, I would like to suggest. I will say this. I'm sorry, I do have a commitment tonight. Is it possible that I engage this tomorrow? Option number one is applicable if you have a good relationship already with your manager. This is applicable when you have over a few months and years have established that you are reliable. You're that person who gets the job done. And so you will be allowed to get this tonight because you simply have a commitment. I also want to emphasize, do you notice that I did not even explain what that commitment is? And there's a reason for that. You want to keep the privacy of why you need to be out. Because the moment you reveal to the person why you are leaving, you give them a space to negotiate that you should stay longer. Can I get an exclamation mark if you can relate with that? You don't need to explain. And neither, I want to highlight this, neither do you owe it to anyone what exactly are you going to do outside office because it's your personal life. So simply say, I'm sorry, I have a commitment tonight. Is it possible that I engage this tomorrow? So you're acknowledging that you need to go, but you're also acknowledging that, yes, I know that there is something that needs to be done, but may I negotiate if it can be done tomorrow and if it can wait. It's the same tactic that I use when I'm in a meeting. Let's say, for example, someone set a Zoom meeting from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. So when you say it's 6 o'clock p.m. as the ending, you are respecting people's time that you're supposed to end at 6 o'clock. When someone in a Zoom meeting extends beyond 6, it's already 6:42, and the meeting happens to prolong, and you know that the discussion is not as critical as it should be, I will type in the Zoom meeting and say, hi team, I have another commitment to attend to. I will catch up tomorrow if there's anything that's needed from my end. Thank you. And I will leave. Here's tip number 2, still on the same option. When you make that statement, you have to make it imperative and not interrogative. There is a difference between saying, can I leave for my commitment tonight? Versus, I do have a commitment tonight. Magkaiba yan. Asking implies you're asking for permission. So you're giving the power to the other person. And the moment that person senses the power, you give them the right to say yes or no. Don't give them that chance. Simply say it as an imperative statement. There's no choice here. It is what it is. I have a commitment tonight. Excuse me. Is it possible that I engage this tomorrow instead? Right? All good? I want to highlight this applies if you have that reputation. It's established that you are good in what you do, you're reliable, you're that person who gets it right, right? If you haven't yet established yourself, especially when you're new, it's going to be hard to pull this off, right? Because I do understand the reason why. People will think that you are not fully committed and you're not a team player. Here's option number 2 now. Option number 2 is I will explain the reason why. And I will say this not as a one-time discussion, but as a sustainable relationship. So I will say, boss, I understand that you prefer to work late at night. So do you notice that how I chose the word prefer? I'm using the word prefer because I'm signaling to the other person, oops, boss, this is not the rule. It's an 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. job. So it's your preference. Therefore, it's your choice that you cannot impose on other people, right? Of course, I didn't say it that way, but because I said you prefer to work, it sends the signal to the other person, right? So I will continue and I'll say, in my case, I start work early as I have to attend to my family by dinner. The important element here is the family parts. And it's hard in most negotiation to argue based on family reasons. Can I get the letter F if you've noticed that? It's hard. Right? It's hard to argue, especially in the Philippines. But you don't want to sound like you're just after the family and you're not after work. So you insert another statement. Is there a way that you can assign the projects ahead of time so I can support you promptly? Can I get the letter S if you notice how I use the word support? Because support will sound that, hey, I'm still yours. I'm still a part of the team. I'm here to support your success, boss. I'm here as a team player, but I need to leave because I need to do other things in my life.